Alright, good day guys, and welcome to another Rocket League analysis video. Now this video is going to be, this is a live stream video, so excuse me if I look over there. I'm just looking at the chat. Not that there's anyone in it, there's only one guy in it, so that's cool. This is for Spyder, and he is, I believe, Diamond 1 at the moment, but he did do a lot of D-ranking recently. And we'll just be analysing it. This game went to overtime. I've not watched all of it. First thing I like to say is the camera settings is quite low. That's just personal preference. Some people like low camera settings, but I prefer a little bit of height on them. Oh, that's so nauseating. Oh. Okay. So your teammate went for kickoff. Both the enemies went for kickoff. Now, your rotation here isn't too bad. But this center pex guy was in the wrong spot. He should not have been there. He should have been in center because his teammate was in the corner. Who's his teammate going to pass to? Of course the pass is going to fail because he's not there to shoot for it. You shouldn't have to be in the center. This is where center pex should be. But he put it into the center anyway. And he didn't go up for it too early or anything like that because he weren't in position. That's smart. Then he went for the block. Now, in a scenario like this, I would personally recommend just the moment you see that you're probably going to get beat, you see two names down there, like chances are they're going to beat you, or at the very least they're going to see you. And if we have a look on their screens, we'll just change the camera to, Rover. He can see you, so he knows that he can challenge you whenever he wants. He sees you jumping and he goes for the 50. Right? So we'll just get back to you where one more, two more. There we go. He already knew long before this happened what was going to happen. Right, so generally you want to try to think about that and preemptively decide, oh, I'm going to go back to the net. Now, bumping your teammate probably isn't the best idea. You change the camera, you miss the boost, you bump your teammate. There was a whole bunch of stuff you did wrong there. However, changing the camera was the right thing to do. Good half flip. You've gone back to net. You've gone back to the boost. Now, I think I do want to mention, you do have to put a little bit of trust in your teammates in a scenario like this. Oh, the boost is apparently not there this time around. You want to put the brakes on roughly about here and just give your teammate instant ban a little bit of room to do what he needs to do. Not that it really matters because center pex was going to ruin him no matter what he did because center pex was on the wrong side of the ball. However, you still want to give that room just in case something happens. Not to mention it's just good habit. It's good form to know when to do stuff. You made a full court run here. Whoops. There we go. You made a full court run here when both your teammates are cuddling each other. This is mostly your teammates' fault, and I can point out what they're doing wrong all day long, but realistically, it's always the same. They're always doing this whole setup here where they're just cuddling each other. They're doing it over and over again. Center pex is not really doing anything smart. So really, you just want to stay back, play defensive, because there's no point you being up there as the third man. Because it's just not worth it. So Isabel went for a thing, he went for demo as well. That was a smart passing play by him. Unfortunately, that other guy, oh my god, you're just bouncing yourself around. Unfortunately, that other guy, so I don't normally talk about mechanics. I will talk about this when I'm finished my first thought. The other guy got a small touch on it, got the clear, but what you did wasn't bad there. You assessed the situation. You could have been a bit speedier, but that's no biggie. That's just practice. Alright, here. When you go 50-50s, you want to conserve your second jump until you make contact with it. You don't want to make contact with your second jump unless you absolutely have to. Right? The reason being is that this happens. You lose it. Now, if you watch it in slow-mo, I don't normally go through stuff, but if you watch it in slow-mo, I'll get a little bit closer to it. Boom. Let's change it to 10%. boom, you flipped away from the ball. He got a solid hitbox on it because he didn't flip at all. Now, if you both didn't flip, you both would have just deadballed it. And that's better than losing a challenge unless you're trying to deliberately lose the challenge. In a defensive scenario, you generally don't want to deliberately lose a challenge. That was a little bit better, but again, you flipped away from the ball instead of into it, and that was a risky turn. So, first tip, first big tip I can give you is rotate into the net a lot more. Rotate towards the net, into the net, especially when your teammates are committing all over the show. It's just not worth the... Rocket League is a game of just not making mistakes. If you don't make mistakes for long enough, eventually the other guy is going to make a mistake and you'll get a goal. But not conceding is more important than scoring goals. You can score a goal at any point in time, however, you can only concede once more than the enemy has conceded by the end of the game. That's a maximum of how many times you can concede until between a win and a loss. So you never want to lose the defensive upper hand. You could have gone up for that, but that's more of a mechanic at a higher rank. That would have been a pass for you at a higher rank. But hello. But seeing as say welcome to my dog. Hello, buddy. Hello, give me a kiss. Thank you. So featuring my dog. Oh, thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Nice of you. So yeah, at a high rank this would have been passed, but either way, you do want to get a little bit close to this anyway. I'm not entirely sure why you turned away from it. Maybe to get a better angle on it, but you want to do that beforehand. So you definitely want to be a little bit more speedy and a little bit more direct when you're taking shots like that. Understand that at a lower rank, it gets a little bit firstly scary and a little bit hard and stuff because you got a lot going through your mind, like, am I going to whiff this, end up stuck in the net, and my teammate's going to screw up a save, or what's going to happen? Oh, that was not heavy clear. Also, if you're in a scenario, sorry buddy, I'm sorry, I'll give you some cuddles later. Also, if you're in a position like this, and you've got time, you can see the entire field, everyone's away, you've got the bounce as well, you've got the bounce dribble, take advantage of it that should get clips, because that was beautiful. You should I'll just let him lick me. There he goes, he's happy now. Hello, Kara. Hello, Kara. I apologise for this video being so long just because I'm talking to my dogs non-stop. Anyhow, if you've got the opportunity, you've got the time and the space, take advantage of these moments. That could have been a centre ball, but the other guy just didn't go anywhere near it. So take advantage of a situation like this to absolutely boom it across the field. All you need to do is front flip into it as it bounces, and you will launch that thing miles. Wow, that guy came in at full speed. Look at this guy. How ambitious can you get? Look at him, he's like full speed. Oh shit. Just full power slides his way back to the just runs. He just runs away. Back to his net. He's like, safety of my little cave, please. Please, safety of my cave. I'm gonna pat him in the background so that he doesn't get so moody. Alright, so you're upfield. I don't have too much of a suggestion against this. Maybe don't, this is one thing. So you missed the boost, but that's right, I don't think there was any there. Yeah, you got the boost that time, so there wasn't. Now, you're in the net, you're in a good position here, and no one else is in a good position. You should probably just stay in the net. But he could have rotated back in time, so that's not a big deal. However, you were going to get beaten to this ball. It's definitely worth preserving your positioning. Waiting upfield for waiting upfield for a redirect isn't a bad decision in principle. However, if you realize that you can't get a redirect shot off, it's better to just wait on the ground for just a moment and then get a heavy shot. That's definitely one thing another big tip is stay on the ground a little bit longer before you go for your aerials and get yourself in position before you jump. Because if you're not in position before you jump, you can cause yourself a lot of issues. Not to mention you use a ton of boost trying to get in position in the air, which means you're taking your time to get to the ball and stuff like that. Yeah, for example here, you could see you were going to get beat. That's an easy beat there, you know that. So you either want to go for a 50, like travel left to the ball, try to get a block on them after they've hit the ball, or you want to just go to the corner, let them touch it, and then hit it back yourself. Like if you had to turn left here, so you've gone here, I mean, you sort of cut your teammate off a rotation, but that's not a big deal. But if you had to go on left and boosted 90 degrees to your left, you could have been waiting on the wall for this guy to get his clear off. That's exactly where he sent it. He sent it nowhere important, just sent it into the corner. You can get a nice heavy center ball off that. But realistically, you do want to go back to the net in that position. Now that's unfortunate. He could have shot there, but he's terrible. Centerpix is hugging the wall. Oh, he's also using a center. Oh. Right, good patience. The clear obviously wasn't there, but at least the patience was there for you not to like rush the shot. That is unfortunate. What? That is also unfortunate. That is a good center. See, that's where one of your that's where the third if instant ban, right? Let's watch it from instant ban's point of view. So let's watch it from instant ban's point of view. He had two choices here. He could either, the moment he saw you and he could see you right then, he had two choices. He can either turn around and sit in the center of the field, or he can go all the way back. Now, seeing his Centerpex all the way back, he should have diagnosed that Centerpex, if you do get a center off, Centerpex can't get there faster than he can because he's already here. He should turn around right there. Instead, he got caught in like this weird looped rotation where he didn't really know what the hell was going on because he wasn't entirely paying attention. He could have turned there. But instead, he... Here's a little chocolate flare. Look at him. Whoa, 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 whoa. Also, sorry about the sound. Something's wrong with the sound in my Rocket League lately. Anyhow, let's go back. So you tried to make for another center. You go and bumping people, beating everyone up like a bully. But that's no big. You can be a bully. You're a Spyder. Spiders are just naturally bullies. That was a good catch, but you definitely should have cleared that there, especially considering you had the boost for it. The moment you saw that he'd probably be taking it past the net. Like, Centerpex could have had that. But you saw the pinch, and you could have boosted that and side flipped it and got a bit of a better clear off. And instead, you let it get past the net. You don't really want it to get past the net unless you're behind it to get a 50. But anyhow. Good touch. Alright, your teammate bumped you for no reason, but okie dokie. Oh, that was unfortunate. You did jump a little bit early. It was a little bit ambitious. So was that one, but that's not a bad decision to make. Alright, overtime. Overtime it is. Alright, let's have a look. Somehow the replay is only 4.5 minutes long, even though the match was 5 minutes. And now we're into overtime, even though it was like an extra 10 or 15 seconds after 0-second time. So that's an interesting thing to happen. That's quite strange. Maybe the seconds are off in the league. Oh. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so I also want to point out this rotation's very amateur. So you realize that this block won't work. You're gonna get like blown up or whatever's gonna happen anyway. You realize that wasn't gonna work, but you sort of did this weird rotation where you went far side and then went back into the middle and then turned it back around again and then went up for that. Now, going up for that, not a bad decision. It was only a mechanical mishap that you missed that. That's just training. Definitely, like a couple of those training packs that I sent you are definitely worth sorting out. However, this little loop-de-loop that you did, where you were up and around and like sitting right here, this isn't smart. Look at you go. You're doing laps, you're doing circly-dirklies. Right, when you realize both your teammates are up, just run the fuck away. Seriously, just beeline it back to your net as quickly as possible, because it's just not worth the hassle of, like, if one of these guys had a jumped, oh, I gotta stop pressing the wrong button. If one of these blokes, Milkshake for example, he was in the perfect position to jump. Also, his camera angle is so high for how close his car is. He was in the perfect position to leap for that, and so was his teammate, to be determined. If he had the boost, he could have launched a shot at net from that position, like just like a good long shot. And even this, he could have launched a good long shot. He did launch a good long shot, but it wasn't on the net. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind when you like focus on your teammate's position, especially in threes. You want to make sure you're playing around your teammate. I'm gonna stop watching this guy now. That you're playing around your teammates and keeping them in mind. It's very important to keep your teammates in mind. Why am I in fly? What the hell? Alright, it's you versus the pass. That nothing could be done there. You could only pinch it, so like depending on how heavy you pinched it, but chances are at this rank your teammates wouldn't have read it. It would have like launched into the ceiling and then backboarded itself into your net or something crazy like that. This was extremely ambitious. Like the bounce couldn't possibly have come to you. You definitely want to not be so ambitious when it comes to this kind of stuff. When in doubt, run away, basically. When in doubt, just go back to the net. It's just not worth the hassle. Alright, so you put a shot on it there, that wasn't bad. It could have been harder and stuff, but that's mechanics again. It's just not like, you know, these are just things that take practice. But I've already got a couple of like major decision-making tips that could really help your game sense. That was a bit of a fortunate save there. Still good job by you, but a little bit fortunate. Your teammate made a big mistake, and you luckily he didn't get punished for it too hard. Well, he didn't make a mistake. He just all out whiffed. Another big thing. Oh, I apologise. Another big thing is, I like to call this creeping. Right, so you're in the net, you're in a perfectly safe position. It's just like being center ball, or really anywhere in like the middle lane from your goal to their goal. Anywhere there, people do this thing called lurking. They do it in the corners as well, but it's not so prevalent there as it is here. Right, you like randomly, even though you're in a perfectly defensive position, you randomly ran away, you randomly started pushing the ball, sorry. So, you know, you get bumped and you're on your way back. You've gone far side of the net, which is good, but you didn't wait. You didn't take a moment to go, all right, what play is going to happen here? Could it be centered? Is it going to be centered? Because if Milkshake had hit the brake, he could have centered it. But instead of hitting the brake, he did like this awkward turn. He didn't try to bump. He didn't try to do really much of anything. But you decided to try to commit into the corner as well. Far side of the net is the second best defensive position that you can be in, and 90% of the time it is the best. And like it is the best defensive position you can be in most of the time, especially in threes. Like if you've already got somebody, it's good in threes to be far side. Oh, the center. Oh, okay. Another big tip. You know how you went far side of the goal before and it was really good, and I was like, yeah, good job. Literally like 20 seconds ago. This time you didn't. Now look at where you are. Pay attention to where you are and think to yourself, how could I save a ball from this position, if somebody was in the center of the field, if somebody was over to your right, and this ball popped up, how could you save it from here? Like, how could you save it? How could you clear it? Or really anything. And then think to yourself, after instant ban touches this, what am I going to be able to do? Am I going to be in position to really do much of anything? You can see it in the way that you're moving that you know you should be in the net. That's where you decide to go eventually. So that's a big tip. If you drive past your net, you are probably doing something wrong. Like around the outside of your box, which is this big orange thing here, and the big blue thing on your side, which is shaped obviously like a box. If you're leaving, oh, dunk, oh, so close. If you're driving past that, instead of driving as close to the net as possible, you're probably, whoa, this was ambitious for both parties. You definitely should let your teammate go up for that. And then wait, and kept driving up and waited for his touch, because chances are it would have been a backboard touch. Oh, good shots. That was a really good little clean cut angle. Alright, well done. Well done on that, on managing to make that game work. Okay, so big tips for you. The big things I work on. One, defensive rotations. Now this goes for a handful of different things. One would be rotate far side of net, which means the opposite side that the ball is coming towards your net from. So if the ball's on the left-hand side and you're already into the net, rotating into the net, you want to go on the opposite side. Because I just said left and I realized it's like, is it my left or your left? Could be either, depending on what side of the field you're on. That's tip number one. When it comes to rotating. Secondly, don't creep out of the net when you're in it. You're comfortable. You can't, chances are the enemy's not going to get past you, especially not in a 3v3. So just take advantage of where you are, keep that positioning, and then worry about it after. Step 2, be a little bit less ambitious. Stay grounded. Sorry, that was, yeah. Step 2 and not step 2 of defense, because I went through most of the things that you could do better in defense. Like, just hit the brakes and chill if you're in the net, and rotate far side of the net. You can also see more of the field if you rotate all the way into the, oh yeah, and don't rotate outside the box as well. That's similar to rotating that, but take your time, ground yourself a little bit, realize look at your positioning, go, I'm somewhere where the net is safe, where the goal is safe, because that's the most important part. If you're somewhere where the goal is safe, and you think that you can save whatever they can throw at you, you're pretty much set. Like, I've sat there for 2 minutes of one game, pretty much playing goalie the entire game at Champ 3. Because, and I got demo, they attempted to demo me 6 times. One of them just sat there in the net trying to harass me. I left the net, ball came my way, I just drove back to the net again. Because, sorry for saying because you're in a position where they can't score, and if they can't score, then you've got time to score. And if you're making yourself time, then eventually you'll make it work. Either that or you'll choke like Garrett G and Fireburner did, but at least you're doing alright. At least you're doing a Justin and just being a good rock for the team. So that's the defense side of things. Don't be afraid to just rewind this and listen to it again, because I know I ramble a lot and it's sometimes difficult to keep up with what point I'm trying to make, because I'm not keeping up with what point I'm trying to make. So step 2, and this goes for all around the field. This is stuff all around the field, then I'll go through a couple of striker tips. Step 2, all around things. Don't creep so much, just in general. Do this. It's perfect. Don't creep so much in general. With your 50-50s, take a bit of extra time. And all around, just be a little bit less ambitious. When it comes to redirects and stuff like that, at this rank, chances are your teammate can't even set you up for one without it being an accident. So there's no point in you trying to take them. Unless you're already up there and you're like, oh shit, I can't possibly do anything else. And I do believe I can get this, then go for gold. But if you don't think that's the case, don't bother. Keep yourself a little bit more grounded. Don't jump for aerials as quickly. Line your car first, jump second. What else? And yeah, and don't creep, and be more aware of your teammates' positioning. Positioning is a big thing, especially if you're focusing threes. For example, Centerpex, he could have just waited in mid, you could have backboarded it, he could have scored, that would have made life so much easier. Instead he bumped you, neither of you could do anything. You don't want to be that person. You want to be the kind of person that everyone goes, oh my god, you're such a defensive rock, can we team up? That's the kind of person you want to be. So focus around, even if your teammates are making dumb mistake after dumb mistake and you believe that in that position you could have done it better, don't be the one in that position. Just let them make their dumb mistake and make sure that the goal doesn't get caused because of it. Like, make sure you don't concede because of it, and you'll be fine. Striking. First of all, like, practice those custom training packs I sent you on Discord. Practice all of them because they're super nice, fairly easy, and if you get consistent at them, you will get massive boomers quite often, and at the very least you'll get solid shots and solid shadow defense plays, because the two of them are for shadow defending. Yeah, two of them are for shadow defending. One of them is only partially for shadowing, but the other one's for just complete shadow defense. It's even called it. So you want to practice your mechanics. Step 2, infield passes. At this rank, not really as important, but everyone's ambitious in this rank, so everyone's like, yeah, I'll sit in middle waiting for some crazy pass that I'll never be able to shoot because I'm not that good. Also, a big thing on striking, which is mentioned in before, is don't go for crazy redirects and stuff like that, because all you're doing is putting yourself out of position unless you can score them. Because it's a big commitment. As far as rotations go, it's a big rotational commitment. You do have a knack of figuring out and analyzing the enemy really well. So like when they're clearing the ball, you can see that really well, and that's really good. Keep doing that, but focus on speeding it up. Trust your instincts. Don't trust that instinct, that's a little bit shifty, but trust your instincts in general. Don't be afraid to play a little bit faster, a little bit slower, depending on the situation at hand. Don't be afraid to like drop the ball and go for like a heavy 50, just to make the enemy get a little bit shaky, just to make them go, oh, this guy's got a bit of brain, this could end up like we can make him try to make them second guess themselves by being a smart player. Go for a lot of demos as well. I notice you're out of position a lot, but instead of changing camera, you just will sit somewhere else or go get boost or something like that. If you got the time, man, go for a demo. I mean, demo's the reason you won this game. It's definitely worth doing. If you're in the enemy net and you're like, oh, screw it, I gotta get out of here because I'm in the enemy net, obviously. Just go and bump them, beat them up, go harass them. It'll make them firstly be scared, and they'll be more likely to do things like little jumps and stuff like that, because out of fear. And secondly, it's just a good habit all in all. And thirdly, give your teammates trust. This is something that's nowhere near as relevant for this rank because of the fact that it's so hard to trust your teammates. But for example, you want to trust your teammates to be able to do something with the ball if it looks like they're gonna try. Now, that's why not jumping too early is so important, because if you jump too early, or you jump before assessing the situation, shit can get by you. You can be like, oh no, I could have just stayed on the ground and it would have just ended up right in my hands. But if you jumped early, you don't even know that, let alone could you have done anything about it. Oh my god, my music just completely broke. That wasn't me who turned that off, just the music broke. Maybe my voice is so beautiful, the music was like, stop the beats, y'all. Anyhow, those are really the things that are it. Don't be afraid to rewind and listen to it again. I know I ramble my heart out. I apologize for that. But yeah, no, all in all, I think you do have a lot of potential. You definitely do have a lot of potential. If you focused a little bit more on assessing yourself, I think you would have no problems whatsoever with any of this stuff, any of this rank. And I know it's hard, it is a tough rank to get through, but you can get through it comfortably if you make sure that you don't lose. Eventually, these two bean teammates will win you the game. You just have to make sure you don't lose it so that they have enough time to do so. Even if it takes 7.5 minutes. So be it. Anyhow, well done. This is a long ass nails video. I am sorry. I'm sorry this takes so long. I apologize in advance to my internet provider. And yeah, have a good one, boss. Thank you for watching.